Now, let's be honest. You've probably spent a significant portion of your life standing in front of one of these two machines, staring at the buttons and wondering if you're actually doing it right. Maybe you're a die-hard fan of the classic top loader. That's the machine your parents had. The one where you can just pop the lid and throw in a forgotten sock mid-cycle. Or maybe you've upgraded to the sleek, space-age front loader, the kind that looks like it belongs in a high-tech laboratory. Usually, when we buy these things, we look at the price tag, the color, or how many towels we can cram inside. But had you ever stopped to ask, why are there two designs in the first place? If the goal is just to get clothes clean using water and soap, why hasn't one design won the war yet? Today, we are going deep. We are going inside the drum. We're going to talk about the physics of centripetal force, the raw power of gravity, the chemistry of detergent concentration, and the secret biology of why one of these machines might eventually start smelling like a swamp. By the end of this video, you won't just know which machine is better for your home, you'll understand the radical science of mechanical cleaning. Let's explain. Let's start with the classic, the top-load washing machine. To understand this machine, we have to talk about the Whirlpool. In a traditional top loader, the drum sits vertically, straight up and down. You fill it with water until your clothes are completely submerged. Think of it like a bathtub, but a bathtub that really knows how to party. But here's the thing. Water alone doesn't get dirt out of fabric. You need something called mechanical action. In the center of most traditional top loaders, you have this, the agitator. This is that big plastic column with fins that twists back and forth, swish, swish, swish. Now, here is the science. The agitator's job is to create what scientists call a toroidal flow. When that agitator twists, it pushes the clothes at the bottom outward, toward the edge of the drum. As they hit the wall, they are forced upward. Meanwhile, the clothes at the top are pulled down toward the center to meet the agitator. This creates a continuous vertical loop. The cleaning happens through friction. Plain and simple. The fins of the agitator physically rub against the fabric, and the fabric rubs against other fabric. This scrubbing action is incredibly effective at dislodging heavy mud or thick stains. It's the mechanical equivalent of using an old-fashioned washboard, just a lot faster and a lot less tiring for your arms. But wait, you might have a top loader that doesn't have that big pole in the middle. That is called an impeller machine or a high-efficiency top loader. Instead of a long pole scrubbing the clothes, there's a low-profile disc at the bottom. The science here changes slightly. Instead of physical scrubbing from a pole, the impeller spins rapidly to create intense, high-speed water currents. It uses fluid friction. The clothes rub against each other more than they rub against the machine. This is much gentler on your clothes, but it requires a very specific balance of water and motion to make sure the clothes on the top actually make it down to the bottom to get cleaned. If you overfill an impeller machine, the clothes on top just float there and they never actually get clean. Now, let's move over to the other side of the room and look at the front loader. This machine is a completely different beast. It doesn't have an agitator, it doesn't have an impeller. In fact, if you look inside, it's mostly just empty space with a few plastic paddles or lifters on the sides. If the top loader is a twister, then the front loader is a tumbler. And its secret weapon? Gravity. In a front loader, the drum sits horizontally on its side. It doesn't fill up with water like a bathtub. In fact, if you look through the window, it only uses a small puddle of water at the very bottom. As the drum rotates, those plastic lifters grab your wet, heavy clothes and carry them up, higher and higher, all the way to the 12 o'clock position, the very top of the machine. And then, they fall. This is what I call the slap. When the clothes hit the water at the bottom of the drum, the impact creates something called a hydrodynamic surge. The sheer force of the fall slams the soapy water through the fibers of the cloth. Think about it this way. The top loader tries to scrub the dirt off the surface. But the front loader? It blasts the dirt out from the inside of the fibers using the kinetic energy of the fall. This is why front loaders are almost always rated as more effective at cleaning. They aren't just moving clothes. They are using Earth's gravity to perform a high-speed pressure wash on every single fiber. To understand why these two machines perform so differently, we need to look at the center circle. No, it's not as scary as it sounds. This is a fundamental concept in the world of professional cleaning. It says that for any cleaning task, you have 4 variables: time, agitation, chemistry, and temperature. Think of them like 4 slices of a pie. If you make one slice smaller, you must make another slice bigger to get the same result. Let's compare our two machines using this scientific model. First, let's talk chemistry. A top loader uses a lot of water. We're talking anywhere from 30 to 40 gallons. That's over 100 liters per load. Because there is so much water, the detergent you pour in gets very diluted. It becomes a weak chemical bath. A front loader, however, uses very little water, often only 5 to 10 gallons. Because there is so much less water, the concentration of detergent is much, much higher. The chemistry slice of the circle is massive in a front loader. The soap is angrier, it's more concentrated, and it's significantly more effective at breaking down oils and stains. Second, let's look at agitation. As we discussed, the top loader uses scrubbing agitation, which is high friction. The front loader uses impact agitation, which is gravity-based. Scrubbing is faster, but it's harsher. Impact is slower, but it goes deeper into the fabric. Third, we have time. Because the front loader relies on gravity and lower water levels, it takes much longer to ensure every piece of clothing gets enough falls to be clean. This is why a front load cycle can take 60 to 90 minutes, while an old-school top loader can finish the job in 30. They are trading time for chemistry and gentleness. Now, let's talk about your utility bill, because this is where the science gets expensive. Most people think the biggest cost of washing clothes is the water. But that's actually not true. The real cost is the energy required to heat that water. Since a top loader has to fill up that giant bathtub for every single wash, your water heater has to work overtime. It has to heat up 4 times more water than a front loader requires. That is a massive amount of thermal energy being literally poured down the drain. But the efficiency battle doesn't end when the wash is over. It actually moves into the spin cycle. Here's a bit of physics for you: centrifugal force. At the end of the cycle, the drum spins at high speeds to sling the water out of the clothes. Top loaders usually spin at around 600 to 800 RPM. That's rotations per minute. But front loaders? Because of their horizontal axis and more stable heavy-duty bearings, they can spin at 1200 or even 1600 RPM. Because the front loader spins so much faster, it pulls way more water out of the fabric at a molecular level. When you take clothes out of a front loader, they feel damp. But out of a top loader, they often feel heavy and soggy. This means your dryer, which is the biggest energy hog in your house, doesn't have to work nearly as hard. The front loader wins the resource war by using physics to save you money during the drying stage. Had you ever wondered why your favorite t-shirts eventually get those tiny holes, or why they start to lose their shape and look all wonky? It's because of something called mechanical stress. In a top loader with an agitator, the clothes are often being pulled in 2 different directions at once. The agitator is twisting one way, while the weight of the water and the other clothes is pulling the other way. This leads to something called braiding. You've probably seen it. You pull your laundry out and 3 pairs of jeans are twisted together like a giant heavy rope. At a molecular level, this pulls the cotton fibers past their elastic limit. Once you stretch a fiber too far, it doesn't snap back. It stays stretched. That's how clothes lose their fit. In a front loader, there is no twisting, there is no tug of war. The clothes are simply lifted and dropped. It's like a gentle massage versus a brutal wrestling match. If you have expensive delicates or clothes you want to keep for a decade, the gravity slap of the front loader is scientifically much kinder to the molecular structure of your fabric. Okay, so far, it sounds like the front loader is the perfect machine, right? It cleans better, it uses less water, and it's gentler on your clothes. But it has a fatal flaw, a scientific side effect of its very design: the stink. Because a front loader has a door on the side, it has to be perfectly airtight. Otherwise, water would leak all over your floor. To do this, engineers use a large rubber gasket. It's called the bellows. Here's the biological problem. In a top loader, the lid isn't airtight. Water evaporates and escapes into the room easily. But in a front loader, when you close that door after a wash, you are creating a perfect petri dish. It's dark, it's damp, and there are tiny bits of organic material, like skin cells and dirt, trapped in the folds of that rubber seal. This leads to the creation of biofilms. These are colonies of bacteria and mold that create a slimy, protective layer. Once a biofilm is established, it is incredibly hard to kill. This is why front loaders can start to smell like a damp locker room. To prevent this, you have to fight biology with physics. You must leave the door open to allow evaporation. And you have to use cleaning cycles with high heat and oxygen-based bleach to chemically break down that biofilm. The top loader, being open air, rarely ever has this problem. It is the low-maintenance king. So let's wrap this up. Which machine actually wins the science fair? You should choose a top loader if 1. Speed is your priority. You want a wash finished in 30 minutes flat. 2. Ergonomics matter. You don't want to bend down or crouch to load and unload the machine. 3. You are low maintenance. You don't want to worry about wiping down rubber seals or fighting mold. And 4. Heavy mud. If you're washing rugged work clothes covered in thick mud, that physical scrubbing agitation is hard to beat. On the other hand, you should choose a front loader if 1. Cleaning performance is your #1 goal. You want the absolute best stain removal possible. 2. Long-term savings. You want to use less water and significantly less electricity over the years. 3. Fabric care. You want your clothes to last longer without stretching or tearing. And 4. Space. You want the option to stack your dryer on top to save floor space in a small home. At the end of the day, both of these machines are marvels of engineering. One uses the power of a man-made whirlpool to scrub your clothes clean, and the other uses the literal gravity of the planet to blast dirt out of your shirts. The next time you're doing a load of laundry, stop and listen to the machine. Is it the slap, slap, slap of gravity, or the swish, swish of the agitator? Now, you know the science of what's happening inside the drum. I'm Sal, and if this helped you understand your laundry room a little better, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. Are you Team Gravity or Team Twister? See you in the next explanation.